When people think about war, do they just think about the fighting, or do they also think about the technology that is used? During the first wars, the weapons that were used were primitive compared to the weapons of today. As war has advanced, so has the technology used. How has technology played a part in every war, and what are the advances? Before one can understand fully how technology has changed war to what it is today, they have to look at the advances throughout the years. In the beginning, the first wars were fought with anything available from sticks, rocks, bows, and arrows. Then, as technology advanced, came cannons and black powder rifles. When the early wars were fought, casualties were only a 16th of what they are today, most of which were from infections and not from the weapons themselves. The way wars were fought changed drastically with the inventions of weapons like machine guns, tanks, military ships, military aircraft, and nuclear weapons. With this advancement, war has become bloodier and has contributed to more casualties than the past wars. There are many different types of technology used in war, from computers to the actual weapons. Two examples of technology used in warfare are autonomous weapons and manned weapons. Some examples of autonomous weapons are drones and bomb robots. Drones have been used in war to help survey enemy territory and eliminate threats without having to put soldiers in danger of being shot down. Bomb robots are not actually used as weapons, but are used to help soldiers find and defuse bombs and IEDs. This technology is not only used by the military, but also used by law enforcement to help keep officers safe. The other type of technology used in warfare is manned weapons, which includes tanks, Humvees, military ships, and military aircraft. There are many different types of military ships being used by our military for war. One example is the aircraft carrier, which is basically a floating city, and it is the biggest ship in the naval fleet. Other examples of military ships are destroyers, submarines, and the littoral combat ship. Each of these types of ships play their own role to make the Navy be a big part of winning a war. The one technology that has caused the most debate is nuclear weapons, like the atom bomb, or what we have today, the nuclear missiles. Without this creation of the nuclear bomb, scientists would not have been able to use the technology to create nuclear reactors that are in 450 nuclear power plants worldwide, creating power for billions of people. Besides creating energy for the world, the same nuclear technology is being used to power 140 U.S. military ships with 180 small nuclear reactors. As with every technology used in warfare, nuclear weapons have been the most debated subject, as if they are ethical or not, and are worth the risk or not. Some people will argue that nuclear weapons are not worth anything that goes into them, and will argue the cons, and some people will argue the pros outweigh the cons. Some of the cons for nuclear weapons are the maintenance cost to keep them operational. The U.S. alone spends estimated $34.8 billion a year to either maintain them or upgrade them. Another con is when a new bomb or missile is launched, the ethical impact is not comparable to any other type of weapon. The environmental impact on the Earth could not be reversible. Even though nuclear weapons are guarded, there is always that chance that they could be used as a major terror threat. The waste from the development of nuclear weapons needs to be stored and eventually broken down and destroyed. Even though nuclear weapons are maintained, they could fail because of degraded delivery system. When developing these types of weapons, some types of detonation is required at some point. and radiation is released which could cause harm to people or wildlife. Some of the pros of the nuclear weapons, on the other hand, are nuclear weapons are a deterrent for countries trying to start a nuclear conflict. Some people say it reinforces the national borders. Countries will be more likely to negotiate with countries that have nuclear weapons rather than try and start a war. Another pro is having nuclear weapons changes the power status of a nation. Countries that have nuclear weapon capabilities are treated differently on the global level than countries that do not have these types of weapons. They can be fired without endangering personnel, unlike when the first nuclear bomb was released on Japan. Nuclear weapons are not stationary anymore. They can be positioned anywhere in the world because they can be put into submarines or any ocean-based location. They have provided the foundation for other technologies being developed.